The history of the Sackler family. The Sackler family story is one of remarkable ambition, influence, and controversy. Originally known for their pioneering contributions to medicine and philanthropy, the family later became infamous due to their association with Purdue Pharma and the opioid crisis. Early life and education. The family's rise began with three brothers, Arthur, Mortimer, and Raymond Sackler, the sons of Jewish immigrants from Brooklyn, New York. Their parents, Isaac and Sophie Sackler, emphasized education and hard work, values that shaped the brothers' future pursuits. All three brothers became physicians, receiving their medical training at New York University. They shared a keen interest in both medical research and entrepreneurship, which laid the foundation for their eventual success in the pharmaceutical industry. Arthur Sackler, the visionary pioneer. Arthur Sackler, the eldest brother, was a trailblazer in the fields of medical advertising and marketing. In the 1950s, he revolutionized pharmaceutical advertising by introducing direct-to-physician promotional campaigns. His marketing strategies turned drugs like Valium into household names and helped transform Roche into one of the world's leading pharmaceutical companies. Valium became the first drug to earn over $100 million annually, largely due to Arthur's innovative techniques. Arthur was also a passionate patron of the arts and a prolific philanthropist. He donated extensively to cultural institutions, including the Metropolitan Museum of Art and the Smithsonian Institution, which named the Arthur M. Sackler Gallery in his honor. Mortimer and Raymond Sackler, the business strategists. While Arthur focused on marketing and advertising, Mortimer and Raymond were more involved in medical research and business operations. Both were dedicated scientists who conducted research in psychiatry and biology. Mortimer eventually moved to the United Kingdom, where he built a pharmaceutical empire that extended beyond the United States. Raymond remained in the U.S. and played a crucial role in expanding the family's pharmaceutical interests. The two brothers were also generous philanthropists, funding numerous academic and cultural institutions worldwide, including the University of Oxford, King's College London, and various medical research programs. Philanthropy and influence. The Sackler family became one of the most prominent philanthropic dynasties in the world. They donated millions to prestigious institutions such as Harvard University, the Louvre in Paris, the British Museum, Columbia University, Tufts University. Their contributions funded research centers, galleries, and museums, many of which bore the Sackler name. Controversy and decline. For decades, the Sacklers were celebrated for their philanthropic efforts and contributions to science and the arts. However, their reputation began to unravel in the late 2010s, when their association with the opioid crisis became widely publicized. Despite the family's efforts to maintain a positive public image, mounting evidence linked their business practices to widespread addiction and overdose deaths. This revelation led many institutions to distance themselves from the Sacklers, removing their name from buildings and programs. Legacy. The Sackler family's legacy is complex. On one hand, they played a pivotal role in transforming pharmaceutical marketing and supported groundbreaking research and cultural initiatives. On the other, their name has become synonymous with corporate greed and the devastating consequences of the opioid epidemic. Today, their story stands as both a testament to the influence of wealth and a cautionary tale about the ethical responsibilities of those in positions of power. The history of the development of OxyContin. OxyContin, one of the most controversial drugs in modern history, was introduced by Purdue Pharma in 1996. Marketed as a groundbreaking solution for pain management, it would later become a central figure in the opioid epidemic, contributing to widespread addiction and overdose deaths across the United States. Early research and concept. Purdue Pharma, originally focused on less potent painkillers, recognized a market opportunity for a long-acting opioid that could be prescribed for severe chronic pain. The idea was to create a formulation that would release the opioid slowly over time, providing prolonged relief without the need for frequent dosing. At the core of this concept was oxycodone, a powerful opioid analgesic that had been used in combination drugs like Percocet. Purdue's innovation was the creation of a time-release coating, which was designed to gradually release oxycodone into the bloodstream over 12 hours. FDA approval and initial launch. In 1995, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, approved OxyContin for use in managing moderate to severe pain when continuous, around-the-clock opioid treatment was needed. The approval was based on Purdue's claims that the drug's time-release mechanism reduced the risk of abuse and addiction compared to immediate-release opioids. The drug was launched in 1996, initially targeted toward cancer patients and those suffering from severe chronic pain. Aggressive marketing strategy. Purdue Pharma quickly expanded its marketing efforts beyond cancer care. The company promoted OxyContin as a safe and effective treatment for a wide variety of pain conditions, including back pain, arthritis, and post-surgical discomfort. The company employed an extensive and aggressive sales strategy. Sales representative training. Over 1,000 sales representatives were trained to target physicians, particularly general practitioners who had little experience with prescribing opioids. Promotional materials. Purdue distributed promotional literature that emphasized OxyContin's low addiction risk, claiming that fewer than 1% of patients would become addicted. Bonuses. Sales representatives were rewarded with significant bonuses for increasing prescriptions, especially for higher doses. Purdue also funded pain management seminars and educational programs, subtly encouraging doctors to prescribe opioids more frequently. The problem of abuse. The central claim that OxyContin was less addictive due to its time-release coating was later proven false. Users quickly discovered that crushing the tablets bypassed the extended-release mechanism, allowing them to snort or inject the drug for an intense, immediate high. This led to widespread abuse, particularly in rural areas and small towns, where opioid addiction began to spread rapidly. Purdue, aware of the emerging reports of abuse, continued to push high-dose formulations and downplay addiction concerns. Legal and regulatory issues. By the early 2000s, the addictive nature of OxyContin had become undeniable. Reports of overdose deaths and rampant misuse were mounting. Key milestones in the regulatory and legal fallout included 2001 FDA label change. The FDA required Purdue to change OxyContin's labeling to warn about its potential for abuse and addiction. 2007 guilty plea. Purdue Pharma and 3 executives pleaded guilty to federal charges of misleading the public about OxyContin's addiction risks, paying $634 million in fines. Despite these measures, OxyContin remained widely available and continued to be a significant factor in the opioid epidemic. Reformulation efforts. In 2010, Purdue introduced a reformulated version of OxyContin designed to be more abuse-resistant. The new version made it harder to crush, snort, or inject the drug. While this reduced some forms of abuse, the damage had already been done. Many users, unable to obtain or misuse the reformulated version, turned to cheaper and more dangerous alternatives such as heroin and synthetic opioids like fentanyl. Impact and legacy. By the time OxyContin's role in the opioid epidemic became fully recognized, the drug had generated billions of dollars in revenue for Purdue Pharma. It was hailed as a revolutionary painkiller, but became a symbol of corporate greed and public health devastation. The development of OxyContin stands as a cautionary tale about the dangers of inadequate regulation, aggressive marketing, and the prioritization of profit over public welfare. Its history continues to shape conversations around opioid prescribing, pharmaceutical accountability, and drug addiction treatment. Current status of the Sackler family. The Sackler family, once one of the wealthiest and most respected families in America, now faces widespread public criticism and diminished social standing due to their role in the opioid crisis. Despite agreeing to financial settlements, the family retains much of its vast fortune. Legal immunity and settlement. In 2021, the Sacklers reached a controversial settlement worth $6 billion as part of Purdue Pharma's bankruptcy case. The settlement granted the Sackler family immunity from future civil lawsuits related to the opioid crisis, a decision that sparked public outrage. The family maintained that they did nothing wrong and insisted that their actions were lawful. Philanthropic backlash. Many cultural and educational institutions, once eager to accept the Sacklers' donations, have distanced themselves from the family. Prominent institutions such as the Metropolitan Museum of Art, Harvard University, and the Louvre have removed or renamed galleries that bore the Sackler name. Despite these setbacks, members of the Sackler family continue to live in immense wealth, with investments and assets largely untouched by the settlements. Current status of Purdue Pharma. After declaring bankruptcy in 2019, Purdue Pharma underwent significant restructuring. Public benefit company. Purdue was restructured into a public benefit company, PBC, tentatively called Noah Pharma, although this name may change. Mission shift. The new entity is tasked with manufacturing medications, including treatments for opioid addiction and overdose reversal drugs such as naloxone. Ownership. The Sacklers no longer own or control Purdue. Independent trustees now oversee the company. The company's profits are directed toward combating the opioid crisis and funding addiction treatment programs as part of legal settlements. Current status of OxyContin. OxyContin is still available on the market, but under tighter restrictions. Reformulated version. The drug now comes in an abuse deterrent form, making it harder to crush, snort, or inject. Declining prescriptions. Due to heightened awareness of opioid addiction and stricter prescribing guidelines, the use of OxyContin has significantly declined. Ongoing controversy. Despite the reformulations, public health advocates continue to criticize Purdue and regulatory agencies for the drug's continued presence on the market, arguing that it still poses risks for addiction and misuse. Broader impact and legacy. The opioid epidemic sparked by Purdue Pharma and OxyContin continues to devastate communities. While Purdue's restructuring and the Sackler settlement are seen as partial victories for accountability, many victims and their families argue that justice remains incomplete. The story of the Sacklers, Purdue Pharma, and OxyContin serves as a grim reminder of the consequences of corporate greed and regulatory failure in the healthcare industry. Efforts to combat the opioid crisis remain ongoing, with governments, public health advocates, and affected families striving for a future with greater accountability and safer pain management practices.